Alright, good morning guys. So if you can take a look at my computer here, I am presenting a document that I sent you last week regarding primary key and foreign key. I'm going to first, I know that you did an example by using primary key and foreign key. You have watched a video, but I'm going to give you a little bit explanation, more explanation on what is primary key and what is foreign key, what is the purpose of primary key and foreign keys. Okay. Now a primary key constraint defines a column or series of columns that uniquely identify a given row in a table. So the purpose of primary key is to uniquely identify a column of a table. If you do not define a primary key, right? Let's say I'm creating a table for people's information. Then I'm putting, okay, these people's primary social security number is this, his name is this, his address is this, right? If you do not, like, we know that none of the two people has same primary key, correct?
Yeah.
You will not get a single people in the United States that has sharing his social security number with another people, right?
Yeah.
So in database, right, in database you will have to make sure that this primary key is unique, right? So how do you make sure the primary key is unique? When you are creating the table, you define the primary key SSN as a primary key. Then this primary key, you will not be able to input the same record that you already input, right? You will not be able to input the same record, and the primary key will not be duplicated for multiple people. Defining a primary key on it, like, now the primary key, you can name one column as a primary key, or you can select multiple column, combination of column as a primary key. Like, you have seen that so far we have defined one column as a primary key, but in reality, in complex business scenario, like let's say in Facebook or all of the complex business case, they define primary key with combination of multiple column. You got it?
Yeah.
So you can define primary key. Defining primary key with multiple column is a database administrator. People who will be working as a database administrator, they will be learning it. We are not going to define any table with multiple column for primary key. Our goal here to understand what primary key is, and for that we will move forward with only one column primary key. Make sense? Okay. Now defining a so is it compulsory that primary key will have to have only one column, or it can have multiple columns? It can have multiple columns. Now what is the purpose of primary key? The purpose of primary key, can anyone tell me what is the purpose of primary key?
Especially for the identify for the
Uniquely identify each record. What do you mean by record? In a database table, every row is a record. If you have 100 rows of data, that means you have 100 records in the table, correct? Now defining a primary key on a table is optional. Now you saw that we have created many tables without defining any primary key, correct? Now if you define a table without primary key, what is the disadvantage? You can input duplicate records. Duplicate record means not unique. You like, when you have huge amount of data, duplicacy is an issue. Then you will be creating same table multiple times if you do not define a primary key, right? And then, like, when you write query, for the same query it might return multiple records if you do not have a primary key. Now defining a primary key on a table is optional, and you can only define a single primary key on a table. But remember that I said you can combine multiple columns to create a primary key, but in a table you can have only one primary key. In one table you can have only one primary key. Only one. But this primary key can be consisted of multiple columns. But let's say you said, okay, SSN is my primary key, and then you cannot say again SSN is primary key and his date of birth is also primary key. No.
Only one primary key?
Yeah, only one primary key. But that primary key you can say, okay, SSN and date of birth. This both is my primary key. You can combine these two and create a primary key. But you cannot say, okay, SSN is one primary key, date of birth is another primary key. Not like this.
So how can you like it represent SSN?
Yeah.
In the comma,
when you like that one, you will have to define by constraint. You will see that we have another way of out of line. You will be able to define like, okay, SSN, this DOB, and then primary key. You got it? So, but you cannot say SSN DOB primary key and address another primary key, right? So primary key will be one, but it can have multiple columns. Correct? Okay. Now, single primary key on a table. Primary key constraint can consist of one or many columns up to 32. What is the you can combine up to 32 columns for a primary key. Correct? Any column that is defined as a primary key column is automatically set with not null. Now, what is that not null that is coming here? Can you see, everyone? Here I can say not null. I can say I cannot say here, I cannot say primary key. I can say not null, but I cannot say primary key here, because in a given table there will be only one primary key. I cannot say another primary key here. Now, what is that not null? What is that not null? Not null means, like, when you are inputting data, remember that I have provided you a table here. Look guys, intentionally I provided, can you see, in this record I have the book's ISBN, I have the book name, but for this particular record I do not have book type. Right? Now remember, when you are defining this field as your primary key, that means when you define a field as a primary key, you cannot keep this field empty. I cannot keep this field empty. I must have to input. If I input this record, I will have to input this primary key. I will have to input a value for the primary key. But remember that I didn't input anything here.
It's okay.
It's okay.
But primary key needs the data.
Primary need that key need data. But this key I do not have data, but I am still good. I will be able to input this record only for these two fields. Correct? Now the question here, if you say, when you define the table, if you say not null, then it will enforce you, no, you cannot keep this field empty. You will have to input data. So this is the purpose of not null. Sometimes it is not primary key, but you will have to make sure that you have a data in this field. Right?
Not so many you need data.
Yeah. Not null means you will have to input data. Okay. Now let's go back here. So any column that is defined as a primary key column is automatically set with a not null status. But if the field is not primary key, how do you ensure that it will have to have data? By saying not null at the end of the definition. Correct? Okay. Now this is what, primary key. Now there is another definition. What is primary key? Now can you see, when we have defined primary key here, while we are declaring the data type, we have said, okay, this is the primary key. Correct? And then we are calling this type of definition as a inline definition. We are defining primary key in the inline syntax, in the same line. That's why we are calling it as inline primary key. Now what is primary key constraint? A constraint, now you understand this, a constraint is a rule. When you are driving on the road, you will have to drive on the right hand side. You cannot drive on the left hand side. This is a constraint. If you have driver license, if you want to drive, you will have to drive on the right hand side. Correct? Now if you if you drive on the left hand side, the law is you cannot drive. Who will enforce this? Law and enforcement official will give you a ticket. This is the enforcement, law enforcement. So primary key is a constraint, is a constraint is a enforcement, right? Like if you drive on the left hand side, you will get a ticket. Who will give the ticket? Police guy, right? Police officer. Here primary key constraint, the constraint is you will have to provide unique data for that field, and this law it is enforcing you. Like police officer, they enforce you to follow the traffic rule. This primary key constraint will enforce you to input unique data for that particular field which you are defining as a primary key. So what is constraint? A constraint is a rule that is applied to the table. Correct?
So the rule is the primary, the unique number and not now.
Not now.
Unique number, not now.
You cannot keep it empty, and it will have to be unique. Now, in the case, the primary key constraint is a rule that says cannot have a duplicate entry in the book ISBN column, and book ISBN column can never be empty on or null. So what is the primary key constraint enforce? What is the primary key constraint enforce? What? It enforces two things. One is the field that you are defining as a primary key, it will have to be unique, number one. Number two, what is the other constraint? Not null. That is the primary key constraint. That is the rule that primary key applies. Correct? Now, here is an example of out of line. Like here you saw that we have defined a primary key here, right? We have defined a primary key with inline syntax. Here we have defined it with inline syntax. Now if you take a look here, we have defined the same table with out of line syntax. Now when you do inline syntax, you define primary key here, right? But when you do out of line, you say okay, this is a constraint, and you provide a name, pk books. You can put any name. I'm just putting a name of that constraint, and I'm saying okay, this is a primary key, and what is the field name of that primary key?
The book.
I'm not, so this is how you define it out of line. I'm not worried about you learn out of line syntax, you just learn inline. I just provide it as an example of.
So out of line, the last, the constant pk means primary key.
Constant, and you can give any name. You can put ABC here.
pk means
Primary
key,
key.
and book is the table name.
No, pk books means like
Because
I'm giving it a name. Here this word, it can be XYZ. Can you see I have selected it? It can be XYZ. I'm just giving a meaningful name, pk books. I'm saying okay, this is a primary key of books table. But it can be anything XYZ, it can be Lil Barn, it can be anything. Anything. Just a word, or but you provide a meaningful thing. Okay, this is a primary key constraint. I'm just giving a name of that.
But there the books is the table name.
Yeah, books is the table name.
Yeah. So you can use the table name.
As I said, when you, let's say that in Bangladesh you saw that when they build a building, they give a name. Sometimes they will say okay, XYZ Manjil, or some type of name, right? It is just a name. You can provide any name.
It's not,
So
it's not important for table.
no. So what I'm saying, can you see in this part?
Yeah.
In this part, I'm defining a primary key.
Primary key, yeah.
But this is a constraint. I'm giving this constraint a name, so that if I need to edit it, I can edit it comfortably. So when you are naming it, name it in a meaningful way. But I am not enforcing you to learn this out of line syntax. Inline syntax is fine.
It's better, yeah.
It's better. You do not need to worry about this out of line. I just keep it as an example. Okay?
Idea, yeah.
Yeah. Now what is a foreign key? What is a foreign key? Now a foreign key is a constraint that is added to the table. It allows you to specify that a column in a table refers to the primary key of another table. Refers to the primary key of. Remember, foreign key is a data field that refers to the primary key of another table. Correct? Primary key of another table. It is used to relate data in two tables and improve the integrity of your data. Remember, improve the integrity of your data. Improve the integrity of your integrity. I'll give you an example. What is that integrity means? Now let me bring a table here from there to give you more explanation on it. Give me a second. Let me bring this.
And each of the field is related to a person in the resident input. Now, let's say the first field, which one is dealing we have currently in one section we start a unique social security. I'll give a detailed explanation of what is known as security. And if you take a look with
Okay. Now if you take a look here, let me just. Can everyone see this? Now if you take a look, I have two tables. One is residence info, another one is billing info. Can everyone see this? In the residence info, I have residence SSN, residence name, right? Apartment number. And in the billing info, I have invoice amount, billing amount, and billed person. So what do you understand? 45.50 cents, right? Whose bill is that? Whose bill is that? That 45.50.
Is Ramin. President Ramin.
Yeah, Ramim, right? How have you created that correlation? Because yeah, right. This billed person, where we are referring to a SSN of another SSN from another table, that is actually saying, okay, this bill is for Ramim, correct? You understood, everyone? Now, if you say, if I say this $60, whose bill is that?
Is Raja.
Raja, right? Because it is saying that his SSN is related to that. Now can you see, guys, can you see that this billed person we have defined as a foreign key. When we define the table, this billed person, right, we define it as a foreign key. Now if I go back, how we defined it, I think you have sent me, some of you have sent me that answer. I'm going to go there to show actually how we have not this. Sharia, you send me multiple email. I'm just reviewing your email. Let me see. Open your document. So I think this one. Oh, this is another table. Okay. Now,
Don't do that.
okay, you didn't do that. Okay. So, just for an example, how you define your foreign key, correct? Guys, take a look here. that is how when you create a table, correct, for let's say this two table that we are considering, right, this is the book information and this is the author information, who is the author of this book. Now by seeing that we can say this book, right, Daniel Carter, this book is this the details of this book is here, 177, right. So the name of the book is Alive or Not Alive, Danny, the name of the book. How we know this is the name of the book? Do you have the book name here in this table? No. But how you know? Because this book name is another table and it is saying that this book ID is related to here. Now how do you write this? Like we know that this is a foreign key of this table, but it is pointing to the primary key of this table, correct? Now how you do that? You do that by using this syntax, right? When you create table, can you see I'm creating the author's info table here, right? I have defined author ID, primary key, name, normal name, but when I define book ID, I said okay, book ID data type is birth chapter 20, but it is referencing, I'm using the word referencing books table. I'm referencing books table, and from books table which field? Books ISBN. That is how I make sure that this is a foreign key. Now let me go back to the video here. Now if you take a look here, guys, can you see that by billing info, right, in the billed person field, basically if you take a look, this person 5690, right, is actually 5690 is Raja, right?
Yeah.
That means Raja has how many bills? He has 2 bills, correct? Because his SSN is mentioned here twice, right? So that means Raja has 2 bills. Now we said like primary key and foreign key, like if you define a foreign key, it help you to bring integrity in data. So it enforces integrity. How? Right? Let's say in this table, in the billing info, you all have created, right?
Yeah.
Make sure you commit. If you commit, then your data will, next time when you open it, your data will be there. If you have not committed yet, execute the commit statement. You got it, Manjima? Execute the commit statement. No. Foreign key, like as you can see that. Yeah, he has Raja. He has multiple bills. Now, I'm going to show you how primary key and foreign key enforce data integrity. Now, in this table, in the billing info, can you try to input another bill, 1005, let's say $70, with 205 78 5691. Billed person 205 78 5691. Instead of 5690, you put bill invoice number 1005. His amount is 70, and who is the billed person? 205 78 5691.
Second table, yeah?
Yeah, in the second table, try to input that. Guys, what I am saying here, instead of, we saw that 5691 is already a record there in the primary table. So what you input? 1005 70 205 79 5691. Yeah, do that. Yeah, please do that. Then let me know what. So if I go back, let me open my Oracle. So connect system manager. Now let me see if I have that. What is the name of the first table?
The
Residence.
resident info.
Is there any space?
It's
Underscore?
info.
Yeah, I think I have this table, right? But I didn't define any.
House number there is, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't define
Primary.
primary. Select star residence. Oh, no rules. Okay, I do not have that table. But you saw that what you got, like you got when you try to input a person's bill, that if that person is not present in the residence info table.
Yeah.
Let's say you are trying to input a bill for a person who is not present in the primary table, then can you input that bill? No.
No.
It is enforcing you. Make sure that the person that you are inputting, his details is present in the primary table.
No.
That is what integrity.
Like the person is not listed in the primary key.
Yes, the person will have to, like, if you are trying to input a bill for a person who is not a valid person,
Valid person.
so it makes sure that the bill that you are inputting, it is for a valid person. Valid person.
So unvalid person is integrity.
Yeah. So it like primary key and foreign key, it enforces you and it helps you to maintain that integrity, right? So you are not inputting bill for ghost, right? You are not inputting bill for both, correct? It is, you'll have to make sure that that person is alive in the table, right? Okay. All right. So that's how primary key and foreign key, we use it and we enforce data integrity in between tables. Now does it make sense? Do you have any question? Any further question?
No, I don't know, yeah.
Okay. Now if you are good with primary key and foreign key, right, then you I'm going to go for another information today is joins, Oracle joins. How join works. So remember that we have created some tables, right? If you take a look, if you go back, let me go back to the previous week. Database exam 1, if you open that, not this. What is the table that we created? 20, I remember that we have, okay, if you take a look at this monthly exam that we have taken last week, correct? If you bring data like teachers info, students info, let me see if I have those information in my computer here. Select star from teachers info. Select star from
Teacher underscore having underscore info.
let me see.
TUTH.
Oh, okay. view does not exist.
Not here.
Oh. Again explaining it.
See.
Tabular view does not exist. Teachers info. Let me see what is the name of this table that I have in this document. I should have. Okay, this table is not created in my computer. Okay, probably we didn't create this table. In the previous week, we have created another two tables. What are those tables? Let me pause the recording and try to find those. Today, in this section of this, information, we are going to learn Oracle joins. How we can join data from multiple tables. Right. Now, if you take a look, if I write a query, let me write a query on these two tables. So these are my two tables, right? Let me take a screenshot here. Let me take a screenshot. Now, let's say if you write, how many records do you have in table 1? 4 records. How many records do you have in table 2? 8 records, correct? Now, you can see that this person, Elvis, which store does he work?
Farmers market.
Farmers market. How do you know? By his
Store ID.
store ID.
Yeah.
Correct. If I ask, okay, which store does Mahib works? You can say he works in
Is the Petrol Brothers.
Petrol Brothers. Right. It is in. By looking at the first table, we can say, okay, that is the store that person works. Correct. Now, if I ask you, what store does Jamil work?
That are in the first year.
Jamil works in what store? Do I have the store name? No. His data is, his store information is not in this table. Now, if I ask you, can you find out all of the person who works in this Cherian International? Can you find out
Yeah.
how many people works in Cherian International?
2 people.
2 people. How? By looking at their store info.
Yeah.
If I ask you, how many people does work in that Shubida process? How many people?
No.
Do you have anyone? No.
No.
Right. Now you can see that some of the person that doesn't have a store. Correct.
But how many employees you said working the issue with the process? But there, the employees column shows 30 people.
30, but do I have any
Yeah.
do I have any information in this table? No. Right. If I say you are saying that some of the employees that doesn't have a store information, and some of the store that doesn't have a employee information. You understand this, right? Now, if you say select star from, what is the table name? Store details, comma, employee details, where like if you create relation between two table, how do you do that? You say, if your store ID, can you see the store ID, the name is same in both tables. So what you will have to do, you will have to say store details dot store ID equal to employee details dot store ID. Correct. Now you are saying that we are getting data in a kind of scattered way when we are selecting all of the data. we are not getting it in a proper view. Let's say instead of selecting star, we are going to say select store ID, select let's say store name, store and then employee name, employee.
Actually, there is only the name.
In the other table
Table.
there is only name.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are going to say name. Now name is not a valid identifier, right? Let me see what do I have here. Emp name.
All names, right? Yes.
Emp name. So I'm going to say instead of name I'm going to say emp name. Emp name. Now what do you see? How many records do you see? 7, right? And do you see this Shubida grocery in the list? Do you see this Zamil in the list?
No, because of no.
Shubida grocery is not in the list
Yeah.
because Shubida grocery doesn't have employees in the table.
Yeah.
Again, Zamil is not in the list because Jamil's store is not present in the store ID. So what does this mean? When you like this is a join. We join data from these two tables. Let me bring a little bit more information. Now if let's say I want to bring store ID as well. Okay, I want to bring store ID. Store ID from what table I will have to bring store ID? From the store details table. Now let's say that if I say here in this query, if I say store ID, comma, what will happen? If I say store ID, comma, store name, emp name, what do you see?
Store ID, both table. Store is the both table.
In both tables,
Yeah.
we have store ID,
We have
correct?
specific, yes.
We'll have to specifically say from what table I want to bring store ID.
Like
So
that.
store ID is the primary in the store details, right?
Yeah.
So how will I say that? I will say, go there and say store details dot
We get yeah.
store
Store
details dot store ID.
Then perfect.
Now I can see store ID, store name and employee name, right? Now let me bring some other data from this table. If you take a look, employee has DOB, right? Let me bring the DOB as well. Now how will I bring DOB? So let's say emp name, I want to put after emp name I want to put DOB.
Because DOB is only second table.
Yeah. So it will not be an issue because we do not have DOB field in the primary table. We do not put table name dot.
Yeah.
Now we got store ID, store name, employee name, DOB, and we have one more field here. You can see that salary.
Yeah.
If we want to bring that salary as well, how will I bring?
DOB, salary.
Actually, before I bring salary, let me bring emp SSN. Emp SSN.
Yeah.
How will I bring SSN? Let's say after employee name, I want to bring SSN here in between employee name and DOB. So how will I write it? I will go to the query and in between emp name and emp SSN, comma. Was there any underscore in the emp SSN? No. Emp SSN, right? Now if you execute this query, you will see that now it is bringing store ID, store name, right, and then emp name, emp SSN, DOB, correct? Let's say from this table I I want to bring the salary as well. So what are the fields that we cannot bring so far? If you take a look here, we are not bringing that weekly sales, employees, total employees, and that salary. Let's say we are going to bring weekly sales. Actually, weekly sales we do not need weekly sales. Let's say salary. We want to bring salary, right? Where will I put this salary here in the query? Let's say I'm going to put after DOB. I'm going to put salary. So how will I do that? I come here and after putting a comma here, I'm going to say
No here. DOB. After DOB.
after DOB. Yeah, you are right. Actually, it will be after DOB. So we are going to say, and this is where I want to place the salary. Now, can you see that we have now,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
like, let's say those are the amount of data that we want to bring, but what data actually it is bringing? Is it bringing any uncommon data? It is bringing only those data, like if the store information, if the store has employees, it is bringing only those store information where it has employees, and it is bringing only those employees whose store is present in the store table. Two condition here. The query we have written, it is bringing the stored information where it has employee. It is bringing employees information who has stores. Now, is it bringing any uncommon data? If you take a look, this store 4000, is it common in the other table? No. This employee Jamil, is he common? Does he has a store? No. So the query that we have written, this is inner join. Remember, we are learning inner join, outer join, left join, right join. 4 terms. This is inner join, where it will be bringing only related data which has a matching information in both tables. And you understand what is that matching information, right? When it is bringing store, it is making sure that there are employees. When it is bringing employees, it is making sure this employee has a store. Correct? Now, here if you take a look, how we are enforcing it, when we are saying store details dot store ID equal to employee details dot store ID, that means we are making sure that store details dot store ID is present in employee details dot store ID, and we are saying that employee details dot store ID is present in store details dot store ID. Now, so this is what inner join, and what happens in the inner join? It will be bringing matching information from both tables. If there is any mismatching, it will not bring in those data. Now, this is inner join. Okay, this is inner join where we will get matching information. Now, what is outer join? We learn what is inner join. What is outer join? Let me bring this definition of inner join. So, if you go there, Oracle inner, I have a video that I will be sending you, but what is inner join? Okay, if you take a look here in this definition, inner join, actually I have a video, let me see if I can get it. QA learn, and then computer basics, QA testing comment, foreign key, computer basics. I think SQL basics for primary key, foreign key, classroom, computer basics, and then let me see the playlist. joins, right? If you look, I'll send you this video. So I have a join class. Yeah. If you take a look. Okay, I'll send you this video, but let me, yeah, yeah. So here, inner join, Oracle inner join, let me give you this definition first. What does this inner join means? Inner join selects records that have matching values in both tables. So if you take a look here, this diagram, right? Table 1, table 2, it will be showing only the data that is common in both. Can you see?
Yeah.
Right. Let's say you have this table. You have order ID and you have customer ID.
Yeah.
Can you see order ID, customer ID, employee ID, order date, shipper ID, correct? And then in the other table you have customer ID, customer name, contact details or whatever information, right? Now if you like, so if you take the definition from here, matching data, and it will be present in both tables, correct? This is inner join. Now outer join, if you take a look, what is outer join? Let me take you to the example of outer join. In left join, before I do left join, let me go to the outer join. So am I recording? Okay, I'm recording. So this is right join. Before I go to right join, let me show you the outer join. Now full join or outer join? Full join, full join or outer join, right? What it will do? It will be taking common, uncommon, all data from both data. It will take common, uncommon, all data.
Outer join, yeah.
It is
Common, uncommon, matching everything.
yeah, matching, unmatching everything. Correct?
Yeah.
Now
Full. So,
this is full join, right? Now let me show you this statement. Let's say what we did here.
how can you can show here the full outer join?
Yeah, that is what I'm going to. Let's say this query, it was able to bring the common data. Right? Now I'm going to modify this query on common, uncommon, both. Right?
You already done the inner join.
Inner join.
So another one.
We are going to do now outer join. How we are going to do that? So if you say, if you modify this query in from stored details, and then you say full join, employee details, instead of where you put on.
Full join, both table,
Mhm.
both table immediate full join,
Mm-hmm.
and relation, by relation is then it is on. Yeah.
Right? If you look at the query, guys, can you see select? I put the same thing, but I modified the query. I put the stored name in the left. I put the word full join, and in the left hand side I put first table and the other table. And what is the condition I said? Store details dot store ID, employee details dot employee ID. Now if you take a look, here, first of all, Jamil,
Yeah.
he doesn't have a store information. Can you see this area is empty,
Yeah.
right? But his information is present. Whereas in the previous query, was his information there?
No.
No. This 400 Shubida grocery, they doesn't have any employee in the table, but this store information, store name, store ID is there. You saw how I brought
So everybody's information is here coming.
common, uncommon, all the informations are here.
Yeah.
So it will be bringing corresponding data, but if some data is not present in the other table, it will be putting those places empty. You got it?
So the both table middle in the full
Yeah.
join
Full join.
and relation make where we can do
Instead
here
of
on.
where, we are putting
Putting
on. Correct? Does it make sense? What is full join?
Yeah.
Full join makes sense?
If I right select stop form, it's going to be full join with one
Mhm.
on the return of right here.
So it will be, the data will be coming, the view will not do, but it will be all the things. The view you will see the, like it was coming data, you do not understand. Now,
Outer join.
so this is
Yeah.
full join or outer join. You can say over there, instead of full join, you can say outer join.
Just here right outer join. Right?
Yeah, you can say outer.
Outer join.
Okay,
And
now
and the relation.
let me do one thing. Let me take another screenshot. So this is what, let me say, let me go to my paint here, and I'm going to, let me show you one other thing, guys. When you use paint, can you see here, you can resize and you can maintain, you unselect this maintain aspect ratio, and my width is, I do not need that much. I'll put pixels, so I need to make it bigger so that I can fit more data. I'm going to say 3000. 3000. Now can you see it is bigger?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, now the first table that I have is for inner join, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to write something here. Yeah, I'll send you this screenshot. Inner join, and what was the table here? This is the table for inner join. Correct? Then let's go for outer join. This was inner join where it was
Information. Yeah.
it was bringing information from common from both tables. It is bringing information common from both tables.
But this is
No,
just
this is
select from distributed. This is
Oh,
information.
this is not this is okay. This is information from
On a
both
table,
tables.
table, yeah.
This is, let me just correct it. Let me just remove it. Delete. Information, all information from both. Then oh, yes. Both tables. I'll have to do something. Let me write it again. Right, common and common. Then let me bring the inner join. Now if I go back to my, so which one is the inner join? This one, right?
Outer.
This one is outer join. So this is the inner join.
Inner join.
Let me take a screenshot of this. this. So this is the inner join. Let me put it there. This is where I have the inner join, right? Then let's bring the outer join. Outer join. Outer join, again, where we are bringing all common and uncommon, right? So inner join, what it does, let me basically put this in this way. Go there. So in inner join, what we saw,
Inner join matching.
inner join, all the matching information, right?
Yeah. And
So
full
it
join
is-
everything. About outer join.
It is inner join. So inner join, where we are basically bringing all information from all common information from both tables, correct? So let me put this over there. Inner join, before I put it, remove this. So this is what inner join is, correct? Inner join. What can we do? Inner join. Now if I go back to outer join, let me bring this inner join. Let me also bring this outer, all of this join. This is what inner join is. And then if I go there, let me bring this left join. Full join is, full join or outer join is, right? Now if I, let me put this in the outer join part. 9 rows selected. In the inner join, how many rows was selected?
7.
In the outer join, how many rows selected?
9.
Why?
But inner is matching and full
Outer
join-
is matching, unmatching, all.
no full.
Outer is matching, unmatching, all. Full means,
Same.
full or outer means
Same.
matching, unmatching, all. Right. Now we have written this query, if you take a look here, by the word full join. Now if you change it, instead of full join, I'm saying outer join, right? It is saying that the keyword in bullet identifier, I'm going to say full outer join. Full outer join. It's saying it's not properly ended. What is that? I full outer, full outer.
Outer
Oh.
spelling.
Yeah, outer spelling, there's a problem here in the outer. Right. Now outer join or full outer join, same. You understand? Okay. Now we understand what is when we are doing inner join, it is bringing 7 rows. When we are doing outer join, it is bringing 9 rows, because we know that in the first table the store information, that is 400 Shubida grocery, it is an additional information that is not matching. And in the other table we have additional information Jamil, who is not. So that's why these 2 rows are added. Now inner join, outer join, we are good. Now if I ask you, okay, what is left join? Left join, right? Left join, if you take a look at the screenshot here, right? In the left join, right?
Here shows the step number 1.
take a look here. No,
And,
not
and table number 2 is matching.
matching. Correct. So left join is, remember that you have two tables. One is in the left side, one is in the right side. So left join is all the matching information from the right table plus all the matching and unmatching information from the left table. So what is left join? What is left join? All the matching information from the right table. Right table. Left join. Remember left join. Left join means all the matching information from the right table and matching unmatching all information from left table. You understand, right? Now how do you write? How do you write this left join part? So let me go there. Okay. So here it will be, again you saw that the full join we did it, we have used a keyword outer join and we have used on, correct? On. Now what we are going to do here, guys, take a look here. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove this. Right. I'm going to say, if I say only join, right? Join means, only join means inner join. Can you see only join means? Because it is bringing only the common data. If you say outer join or full outer join, it is outer join. Correct? Now I'm going to make this query a little bit modified. Right? So if I say what do you see?
It's one, the first table, everything is done. Should I proceed?
Left table. What is the table in the left? Store details. What is the table in the left? Store details. So it is bringing common, uncommon, everything from the left table. But on the right table, what? Right. All the employee information is from the right table. Correct? In the left hand side you have the, can you see, store ID, store name is the left side table. Can you see store details? And what is the table in the right hand side? Employee details, like LBS, employees and DUB salary. Correct? Now was it able to bring Jamil? No. If you take a look at the
Jamil is not matching the first table.
if you take a look at the all data, in the right hand side table we have Jamil. Correct? But when we are writing that query that we have written here, it was able to bring all of the data from the left table, common, uncommon, matching, unmatching. But employee information, that is the table on the right hand side, it was able to bring only the matching data. Correct? Correct? So how did I implemented it? Can you see? Right hand side, I put a plus sign on the right hand side. I am saying bring common data from right hand side, and I am putting a plus. Plus means plus all uncommon data from left hand side. So when you do left join, you put your plus in the right table. When you do left join, you put your plus in the right hand side table. Does it make sense?
So parenthesis, the plus is meaning the right
Left join. Left join. When you do left join, you put your plus on the right hand side. You mean bring common data from left right hand side table, but plus bring all common uncommon data from left hand side table. So this is your.
If I put the plus, the sign there is minus.
There is no minus. No. Okay. Now guys, now you have seen that when you do full join, it is bringing 9 records. When you do inner join, it is bringing 7 records. When you do left join, it is bringing 8 records, because it is not bringing the record Jamil, because he is in the right hand side table. In the left join, we are bringing all common uncommon data from the table that I have in the left hand side and common data from the right hand side. Now let me take a screenshot for this left join. Does it make sense? Do you have any questions so far? Is it difficult?
No.
Very good. Manjiva, how is it? Is it difficult? Sharia? Alright. So here I'm going to say
Left join.
left join. Left join. You put your plus on the
The
right hand side.
Right hand side.
Plus on the right hand side.
If I don't use the parentheses, then it shows the any data.
You can give it right.
Yeah.
You can give it right. So we got our right join definition, and I'm going to put the data regarding right join here, left join, right?
Yeah.
And then you come to the
The right join.
right join. Correct. Right join. So what do you do in right join?
I think the left side is the path. Yeah.
Plus
Left
sign
Left side.
in the left side. Correct. Now let me go back to the query there and modify. So I have, like, for left join I put plus in the right hand side. Now for
And the right side, back side.
for right join, right, I'm going to say bring only common data from left hand side plus all common uncommon from the right side. Now what do you see? Do you see Shubida grocery here in the left hand side? No, but you see Jamil's information because we are adding common uncommon everything from right side. Is it clear? Let me take a screenshot of this. So let me put it here. So this is our right join, correct? So you understand the purpose of join, right? Sometimes, although I know that we want to see only common data, but sometimes we need to see what data is doesn't have related data in one table, right? So in that way, in doing left and right join, you can show all data, different view of data, correct? Okay, so let's take a 10-minute break. Let's come back at 11:40 and then we'll go from there. Okay, 11:40.
Yes.
Let's take a short break.
We have the
Okay, so for today's part, database part is done. Okay, now I'm going to send you an exam and tables that you will be creating as your homework. Okay, remember that my plan is to start automation from the third week of September. So in order to start automation from third week of September, I want everyone at least prepare a test plan. Remember we have discussed, right? Testers prepare their test plan, write test cases. Everyone prepare a minimal test plan and write at least 15 test cases before I start automation. So I'll be starting automation when I will get a test plan from you and 15 sample test cases. Got it? if I get this document, I'm going to start automation from September 15. September 15. Now automation will be based on Java, Selenium, right? Lot of job at the moment, like people who are in the market looking for job or are in the job. Even it is a manual testing position, they are asking, okay, Selenium. If you have Selenium experience, you will be preferable for this.
Selenium Java is software or
Selenium Java is
or I have no idea.
Selenium Java is like you automate software using, like you do manual testing, you do not do it manually, your code does that. Now to learn,
It's like a SQL SQL
it is programming language. Programming language. I'll be teaching you those languages. If you take a look, if you
Most of the time I listen Java, Selenium.
yeah. So if you look, tutorials point Java, right? Over there you'll see they have Java related tutorial, right? If you can learn some of the syntax, that will be helpful for you if you can read, but this is later on. For now, focus on what I'm doing. Okay, I'll be bringing, like, you might initially, if you look it by yourself, you might get it difficult, but when I'll be bringing the stuff step by step, you'll feel it's not that difficult. Okay, now in order to go for automation, you'll have to give me, like, even though we will be doing automation, parallelly we will be learning, you will be doing more on manual testing. But as you can see, while I am doing database, I was doing manual testing part, and manual testing part will be keep going for longer period of time while we will do the automation. Now, so you have an idea like what happens in the industry. This manual testing theories is very important for your interview. If you cannot talk, if you cannot express yourself in the interview, it will be difficult to get a job. You'll have to speak a lot. You'll have to learn how to express, how to explain this concept that you are learning from this course. This is important. Okay. Now remember that we have talked about requirement document. Where does this requirement document comes? This requirement document comes from
The
business analyst. Business analyst, they prepare the requirement document, or system analyst, right? They prepare the requirement document, and requirement document, they first they collect the requirement from the business stakeholders. They prepare the business requirement document, and they elaborate it and make it test case and functional requirement document. So testers and development team, they get that document, right? That FRD or business requirement document, BRD. So from that you do not have to write requirement document as a tester, but you will have to understand the requirement document, so that from that requirement document you can write your test cases, right? I'm going to display a sample requirement document here today, right? That as a tester you will receive, from where you will be writing the test cases. Clear? If you take a look here, I have a document opened here. It is a real requirement document from an actual project. Okay. Now if you take a look here, I want everyone read this document multiple times to understand actually what each of the part means. Okay, I'm going to send you this document, and I want you to go through this document actually what it consists of, the requirement document. Okay. Now if you take a look here, this is a header page, right? Every document has a header page. It says what is the document about, for what project, right? What is the version number, who prepared it, right? What was the date, right? This is a header document. And then this is a table of content. Every document has a table of content, revision history. It was when it was revised, some of the dates here, right? And then introduction. What is that document about? Purpose. Right? And document conventions. What are the conventions they followed while preparing this document, and then intended audience for reading these projections or documents. Who will this document, like there are billions of documents, you do not read all of the documents, correct? You read what is relevant for you. This document, who is this document for? Right? For tester, for developer, for project managers, right? They provided description, project scope. They like what, like they provide a summary scope of that project. What is this project about? What it is going to do? Now it is about the project that is they are writing requirement, and then references. If there is any references, then they put it here. We will provide a list of documents as we finalize the requirement documents. Now overall description. If you take a look, product perspective. They provide a like perspective of the product, and then here product features. That is what like you will be reading. That is what product features. What will be the features of that product for which you will be writing your test case. Clear? So here are the products.
Write the test cases. This one is most important.
Most important.
Because everything is there.
Everything is there. Based on these product features, you will be testing the application, right? And here you can see that how they like they provide. Can you see the way like one dot, and then under that one there are sub features, and under that one more features. Can you see how they name these product features? And all of the product features are here, right? User classes and characteristics, operating environment, if it will be on Windows 7 or Mac, right? Design and implementation constraints. So here design and implementation constraints. If there is any you understand what is constraint, right? If there is any constraint here in designing, like user documentation, these things are not that much important, but you go through user assumptions and dependencies, system features, external interface, right? Hardware interface, software interface, communication interface. You go through this document, security requirements. Basically, this document, that's it. You read this document and try to figure out actually what are these terminology means. So this will be your task. You go through this document. Okay.
We just want to read down.
Read down, and I'll be coming. Okay, what did you understand from this? What are they trying to explain in that security requirements? I might ask you, what is your understanding regarding this performance requirement? Like when they develop a software, it has a requirement that it will have to handle that much load, right? All of these things you read, and if I ask you questions, this is one of the documents that I wanted you to go through, and then I have another document that is FRD. That will be a little bit more explanatory than this one. This is BRD. Business requirement, similar. I have a more elaborate document of the requirement. Let me bring that.
This one is enough because it's big.
It's big.
Yeah,
I'm going to give you an FRD as well. These two documents you are going to review for this week. If you take a look in FRD, you will see more diagrams, more explanation of the functionality. You saw that business requirement document is like more of summarize. But FRD, you will see this is FRD, functional requirement document from actual project. This is a from an actual project, and you will see it has more diagrams and right. It has more diagrams, and can you see? You will be reading this like what are they trying to explain in this document. I'm going to
compare.
Yeah. Basically, this is for this FRD is for another project. So my question will be, what is your take from these two documents, right? And
you have the FRD like a
no, I don't have the FRD for the other one. This FRD is for a different project. You go through and you give me a summary on what you have understand from these two documents. Okay, so in the FRD you will see some screenshot as well. Probably they will be providing, but you go through these two documents. Right. MATLAB. Now, my you go through this FRD, but remember that from the previous document, you saw what is test cases, right? What is test cases? I have a document here. I'm going to send you as well. These three documents where I have written some. I have some test cases basically. Now, if you let me bring this document test cases. If you take a look, week 8 test cases, right? Let me bring this document. Now, I want you to go through this document. Where is my test cases? Now, if you take a look, guys, these are a real test case that was written for project. If you take a look at this first test case, can everyone take a look? And after that, you go through these steps, and after that, you tell me what is your understanding on these steps. You first take a look. Let me make it a little bit smaller. It will really help us to show. Can you read now? Can you read? No? You have to make it bigger? Let me make it 100%. Okay. Now can you read?
Yeah.
From the backbencher, can you read it? Both of you? A little bit more? Okay, sure. Now? So what I want, you take a look each and every of these attribute and tell me what is your take. So go through this, read it if you can multiple times, and then I'll be asking you. So I'm showing you a test case, right? Basically, as a tester, if you do automation or manual, if you do manual, you will be going through test cases, or you will be writing test cases to test the application. If you are an automation tester, you will be writing code to do these steps, to perform these test steps. So go through this and I'll get that. I'm giving you 5 minutes. Let me send you these 3 documents that you are going to, and you look it at your computer, and then you tell me. Let me put this. So what have you understood, like, from this test case? It has a name, right?
Yeah.
It has a test case number. Every test case will have a number. You can put simply 1, 2, 3, or you can put, like, there is a project initial in the beginning.
Yeah. WMS
Mhm.
and plus 001.
Yeah, and then system, like what is the product name, right? WMS is the product name. Client, who is the client? You do not have to have client always, right? Test scenario, what is the test scenario name?
Yeah.
Test case is a smaller part, test scenario is a bigger part.
Bigger part.
From a test scenario we get multiple test case. So test scenario is a bigger part.
Bigger part.
Let's say a whole page can be a test scenario. From that page we can get multiple test cases. Clear?
Yeah.
And then dependency, like this test case, if you want to test it, what are the other parts? Those need to be completed. We mention those dependency here. And then reference, if you want to refer anything, like let's say if you want to refer any requirement, if you want to associate this test case with any requirement, you put this in the I'm recording. You put it in this part, and then if you take a look, if you take a look here, what is this test case about? It has steps, it has procedures, actions, it has expected, it has expected results, right? PF means password fail. And then defect now, it is not if there is any defect with it. Now if you take a look here, first of all, in the first step, in the procedures, actions, what do you see? From main menu, right? From main menu, yeah, from main menu of WMS, click on file, supervisor, installation, developer options. So it is like it didn't. Can you see this test case is depending on some other test case? On those test cases, they have steps like, okay, go to browser or open this application. Now this test case is from the middle, so it is saying the application is already open, right? From main menu, go to that menu option, and a login window will appear. When you follow this step, what is expected result? A login window will appear, correct? And then if you take a look, in the login window, type password and click on cancel button. You type your on the login window, you type your password and click on cancel button. It will take you back to the main screen of WMS software, right? Expected window. So that's how the steps are defined. So this is just sample test case. In your test case, those you are going to write, you can say test case number, test case name, right? And then if you have any test scenario, you can put it, dependency, you can put it. Now what I want, so these are sample test case.
Should dependency mean the another section why working or before working?
So dependency means this test case. In order to test this test case, the other functionality will have to be ready. So these are the other functionality they are saying, those have to be ready so that you can test this one. Dependency means some other thing, those need to be ready in order so that you can complete this test case. Right? Let's say if you want to transfer money, let's say your test case, you are working in a bank, right? Then your test case like to check the functionality, if you can successfully transfer money from one account to another. This is your test case. What is the dependency here? Your test case is make sure that you successfully can transfer money from one account to another. So what is the what will be the dependency here? Can anyone of you tell me a dependency here?
Another bank.
So it's like the test case here, you have to transfer money from one account to another. Let's say you have multiple accounts, right? So you want to transfer money from one account to another in the same bank, right? Now what will be the dependency? Dependency will be, you will have to have balance, you will have to money in your account, correct? You will have to have multiple accounts so that you can transfer money. These are dependencies. That is what we are for.
Dependency means I have my account have enough balance for the transfer.
Now guys, you have enough money and you have another account. If you do not have, if you have only one account, you cannot transfer money to another account. You will have to have a savings account, a checking account, so that you can transfer money. Now they are talking about here one thing, test scenario. You need to understand this. What is that test scenario? Can you see test scenario adding destination data center? Guys, can you see this test scenario? Can you see this test scenario?
Yeah.
What is that? Let me bring you one thing. Mercury. If you come here in this application, this is a demo application, right? These, let me take a screenshot. Let me take a screenshot from this. Okay, and then if you take a look, this section here, right? Let me, cannot I remove it?
No, you're not.
Yeah, I'm going to remove it now.
You can cancel that I can check.
Yeah, let me take this screenshot again. Okay, let me put it over there. Control N. Now, can you see that I have multiple sections here? I have this section, right?
Yeah.
In this website I have multiples. I have this section, and then I have I have this section,
Vertical menu or electric menu.
right? And then I have this login section, correct?
Yeah.
And then I have this section here. I have this section here, correct? And then I have another section in the, actually let me take this color. The website, so many sections here, right? Now let's say, let's consider this section. Am I recording? Okay, let's consider this section. How many test cases you can write from this section? You can write a test case for sign-on menu. You can write a test case for register menu, support, right? You can write test case for each of the menu, right? So you can write probably 8, 10 test cases, more than that. So when we are writing test case from the requirement document, we divide the requirement document to particular scenario. We are saying, can you see this block here? We are saying this is a test scenario. We are dividing the, like we are dividing the requirement to sub requirement, and then we are calling this one as a test scenario, from where we are going to write multiple tests. Clear?
Yes. Well, test scenario put.
So here, can you see this red
Yeah. Yeah.
rectangle here?
Yeah.
This can be a test scenario,
Yeah.
from where we can write multiple test cases. We divide those test cases under multiple scenarios, so that it becomes easier to track the test cases. We group all of the test cases that we are getting from this section under a particular test scenario. We say, okay, these test cases are related to this scenario. We can say, okay, top header test scenario. You can see the top header part of the menu. We can say, okay, what is the test scenario name? Top header. Top header. And then we can say one test case name sign on, another test case name register, another test case name support. But all of this test case under what? Under top header scenario. Got it? That is what test scenario is. Now, so what I want from you, you write 3 test cases. Next day when you are coming, you write 3 test cases. You write 3 test cases on what? If you take a look here, this requirement document, right, that I have, let me go there. If you take a look at this requirement, actually you do not write 3, you write 1 test case. Okay, this is a requirement. You come class by writing 1 test case. Where will you get the requirement? To write the test case, you will have to have requirement, correct? Right? Where is the requirement? This is where this is here your requirements are. Can you see? Home page. This will be the landing page for any user. When the user types the URL in the address bar, the user will land to this page. Right? This page will contain the following links: header of the page, left header corner, home, flights, photos. Basically, this requirement is for this site, this website. So by following this requirement here, can you see this requirement? You write a test case. Is it too much difficult?
You can try it from.
Yeah, nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Give a try. Write a test case for me. So your task in the upcoming class is send me a test case. Review this 3 document that I sent. In the next class, I am going to discuss test plan. But before you come to the next class, you send me a test case. You review these 2 documents. I am going to send you database work that you work on. Okay. And one other things, I am going to send a list about the requirement, what you are going to do. What about that use case? What is your understanding about use case? So there were a scenario like when you go to your workplace, you punch in, punch out, right? To write a test case on, to use case on that. Were you able to think of anything about that use case? I didn't.
You can run here the which one is actor, trigger.
Yeah, who is actor here? The employee, right? What is the trigger?
The employee try to
input time or clock out, right?
Yeah.
And who is what is the system here? The system is the machine where you input time, correct?
Yeah.
Were you able to write anything on that requirement?
The post condition,
Precondition.
Yeah.
Were you precondition is employee will have to be employed. You cannot go Wells Fargo Bank and punch in because you are not employee. Post condition, what is the post condition? When you punch in, your information will be recorded. When you punch out, right?
Yeah.
So also I didn't get that homework, that particular homework from anyone. So I'm going to send a list, detailed list of homework that you follow and work on it when you come to the next class. Okay. That will be all for our today's class.
I just one inquiry.
Go ahead.
The last, the SQL 3, the last one, that number sequence, that how can I get?
Sure.
Yeah.
So what was that last question? Let me bring that sheet here. So if you go there, I think this was the SQL 3, right? So here the question was, display SSN name, nationality, age, city for people whose name contains R or whose names start with H. So what do you do here? It's very straightforward.
Because there is one name in there.
Let me tell you.
Email name first.
Let me tell you. Your where condition will have where what is that field? Name.
Relation.
Where name.
Now where there fire relation, then and.
Yeah. First you create the relation.
Yeah.
And
And
name
like
like
in
no name like percent r
R percent
percent, and then or name like,
another name like
another name like,
okay I use or
here you put is percentage.
I use or then
Directly put is
Is
percentage.
percentage.
You didn't put or name like.
then simple
Simple. Then at the end you put simple.
semicolon.
Clear?
Okay, just like that.
And whenever you are writing queries, make sure you are keeping these queries in a good document when I'm taking an exam, because this, like, you'll have to practice this database for long time, 6-7 months. So do not, when I'm writing an update statement, alter statement, you prepare a document for you before the exam. You look through this document and come for the exam. All of the statement that you are learning, record it in a particular document. I'll be checking that document as well. Alright, any further question?
No.
Alright, so I'm going to stop recording. I'll be sending you this.